It is great you could join us once again. I am with Greg Engert, beer director for the Neighborhood Restaurant Group, a James Beard Award nominee. The group includes in Old Town, Columbia Firehouse, and Vermilion. Then you got the two Rusticos, one in Alexandria, one in Ballston. Greg, it is always a pleasure to see you.
You too.
What do we have on tap this week?
This week we have I think a lesser known German brewery and beer. The brewer is Gänstaller, and the beer is called Weizenator. It's a really cool little brewery in Upper Franconia, which is northern Bavaria. I think, you know, when we talk about German beer, we typically think of Bavaria, but when we think about Bavaria, we're thinking of the south, Munich, and its environs. But up in Franconia, which is north, frankly, it's closer to Frankfurt than it is to Bavaria, than it is to Munich, I should say, near Bamberg, which is a Franconian city. This is a place that has the most breweries per capita in the world. Crazy, like, country place.
I called my travel agent one moment.
And well, actually, it's an amazing place to visit. You start right in Bamberg and go from there. So they just have all these little tiny country brewers making minuscule amounts of really delicious beers, many of which are unfiltered lagers called Keller beer. And then, as you're traveling around these hills north of Bamberg, you come across Gänstaller. This is a guy named Andy Gänstaller, and his daughter, Danielle, helps him out. Very small operation. They've been brewing in the current facility, which used to be a brewery called Fiedler, since 2011. And that brewing operation was going on for a couple hundred years. And he's just making some of the most delicious beers you can find in Franconia, and you should check it out. This is the Weizenator. So it's a stronger wheat beer style.
Ooh, that smells good.
I think about 8.8% alcohol. And as a wheat beer, you expect the kind of banana, clove, slight bubblegum qualities. But as a richer, stronger style, it's got great malt character. Lots of like fresh bread, honeyed, almondy notes to it. Very balanced. There's a nice little bit of hop bitterness in the finish without being too brusque. And really just a phenomenal beer. It's cool. So Weizenator, Weizen refers to the wheat-based element here in German, and Etor is what we typically use as a suffix for stronger lagers. In this case, indicating a stronger wheat beer. But really delicious style.
Very cool, and I love the father-daughter aspect of it, you know, and they may not be the only ones, but I don't think there's a lot.
No, there's not. This is a very tiny, hands-on operation. It's really cool if you could see it. I mean, literally, it's in this old column brewery, so the brew house is actually up top, and it literally just goes down level to level with fermentation on the early floors and packaging on the ground floor. It's a beautiful place, really cool.
I'm sold. I want to go.
Just check it out.
Of course, the younger people are still going, what's a travel agent? What would you pair this with?
As with all Bavarian-style wheat beer, it seems to go with just about anything. So starting with all things pork-related, roast pork, loin, chops, sausages of all kinds. Obviously, bratwurst would make most sense. Charcuterie, but then, you know, hams, you name it. It's great with cheese, that effervescence digging through the richness. So you can just do like simple, you know, grilled cheese sandwich would be great. Double cheeseburgers with blue cheese on top. A white pizza, I find, is really great with this stuff. And obviously, anything salty from the sea is going to be fantastic. It's really great with like just lightly seared scallops as well.
What I like about Germans is when they create a rule, they follow the rule.
Yeah.
Strictly.
Yeah.
Which to me is like, well, what's the point in having a rule if you're not going to follow
do it,
the
right?
rule? But on that note, are they open-minded to newer styles
innovation
of beer?
Their brewing scene is taking longer to start, you know, using lactose and lemongrass in their beer and stuff. But there are certain traditions of German brewing that do involve interesting, innovative ingredients. While most have just concentrated via the Reinheitsgebot, that old rule you're talking about, on yeast, water, barley, and hops. There are some outliers that are starting to pop up, doing some cool new stuff. I think what Andy does so well at Gänstaller is remain committed to the Reinheitsgebot while coercing exciting flavors from his beers. So while he's very traditional, he creates really interesting things among the German brewing scene. I mean, he's known for strong, basically Baltic porters that are over 10% alcohol that are really just strong dark lagers. He makes lots of different kinds of smoked beers. So I think he's a great example of how you can remain extremely experimental within those seemingly rigid guidelines.
Nicely done. Greg, thank you as always.
Thank you.
Everyone, please always do drink responsibly and be sure to bring your thirst next time for another Beer of the Week.